You ever wondered if there was such a thing as blasphemy towards cinema itself? Well, I'm here to show you proof. Yoo-hoo, and thanks for tuning in to another awful movie review.
I wonder if I should have come.
I have indeed once again been asked to review a bad movie, and so, bad movie review I shall deliver. We're getting ourselves deep in the mud pile with Curse of Bigfoot, a super cheap horror flick which makes Plan 9 from outer space look like Jurassic Park. Honestly, Bigfoot has seen better days. Not only do movies portray him as a violent, bloodthirsty, and savage beast, but then he also gets to show up in some of the worst crap that's being put out there.
You know, you people have done a wonderful thing today.
The movie also has the audacity of calling itself Curse of Bigfoot even when it doesn't have a Bigfoot in sight. Because you guys think what you want, but that sure as shit isn't any Bigfoot I know of.
Well, that's pretty hard to tell.
But we'll get to that later on. Just before we get going, if there's a bad movie you would like me to review, leave me a comment down below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, let me know your thoughts and feelings on Curse of Bigfoot.
By the way, you can bring me back a bottle of orange pop if you want.
A high school teacher is giving a lecture to his students on the origins of mythical monsters, because what else could possibly be more important in high school than learning about fairies and imaginary creatures? Although, to be fair, the professor makes a very interesting point going through monster movie history and talking about the evolution of horror.
Werewolves, vampires, monsters created by atomic radiation, creatures from outer space, recent films about the devil and demon possessions. Even the film about the great white shark.
It's cool to see how it went all meta on us for a few minutes, but that's as good as it gets. He brings a good friend of his, a lecturer and a well-respected specialist in the field of Bigfoot.
This man is a science teacher, as well as a widely read author, and a recognized authority on the phenomenon of the abominable snowman.
What a title. So, son, what do you want to be when you grow up?
I'm thought by many people to be nothing more than a madman.
This man tells the story of him and a group of high school students going back 15 years ago. They went on an archaeological field trip and discovered something unknown to mankind, a mummified prehistoric monster, which doesn't stay mummified for very long, it gets up and starts killing people. First thing we need to discuss is the movie's background. A lot of those who saw this, including myself, thought it was horribly disjointed.
I think I know why.
This would be because it's made up of two different films shot during two different decades. Yes, in 1958 there was a first Curse of Bigfoot that came out, made by the same director. In 1975, for some reason which is beyond me, an extended version was released onto television. There were extra shots added in the beginning, featuring two returning actors from the first movie. One of them plays a completely different character, while all the scenes from the original film were colorized and served as flashbacks in the story told.
The movie studios turned out films like these by the hundreds back in the 50s and early 60s.
I don't know why they bothered colorizing the footage. Maybe it could have been cool to leave it in black and white, to give it more of a vintage throwback feel, because the artificial colorization process from the mid-70s would explain why the film looks so awful. The colors look all faded and it makes the whole thing feel so ugly. It's a pain to the eyes. But I guess it's better than not seeing anything at all. There's a sequence where the characters go into a cave and things just get ridiculous. The producers totally forgot to bring in some lighting.
Well, that's my theory. I could very easily be wrong, though.
I say mummified prehistoric monster because the first movie had nothing to do with Bigfoot. And when you look at it, this doesn't resemble the hairy mythical creature at all. Not just that, but the monster we do see looks ridiculous. It reminds me of a papier-mâché mask some high school student made in arts and crafts class.
Here we have the classic example of the Hollywood monster.
That couldn't be further from the truth. And to put in the final nail in the coffin, we barely even see this thing. This so-called Bigfoot is almost completely absent from the entire picture. Who did they think they were fooling?
Save any questions you might have.
During the first half, the only times we really see anything of the monster is when Bigfoot is moving its, well, Bigfoot. It reminds me of Equinox because it looks so amateurish. It really feels like a student movie, but at least Equinox had some okay stop motion effects. Here, the little effects we do have are pathetic. It's really depressing. And there's no curse either, by the way.
Well, you get the idea.
I don't know what they were going for here. The title is an absolute lie. The whole thing is actually a bad farce from start to finish. So there you go. This is, in my opinion, one of the worst movies ever made. Just when you thought cinema couldn't get any lower, this comes along to prove you wrong. Never trust a movie which has two lies in its own title. What an awful movie.